Hey friends, this is Cindy Allen, Editor-in-Chief of Interior Design, and today we're going back to school. Oh yes, at the fabulous college focused exclusively on interior design. Yep, our good friends at the New York School of Interior Design, aka NYSID. And I'm either extremely lucky or in big trouble because we have today not one, but two deans here to discuss artificial intelligence in design education and practice. First, we have Dean Harper. He's well versed in AI for interior design, both from the practice side and in terms of academic innovation. And then we have Dean Class, who knows everything about the various AI software programs that designers are using today. So, am I in trouble, guys? How are you?
We're good. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy.
Good. Well, it's great to have you here, and it's like such an important topic. Dan, I did want to start with talking about NYSID in general. So well respected, consistently ranked one of the top interior design programs in the United States. Tell us a little bit, maybe the Cliff Notes version about it.
Sure. Yeah. So the school was founded in 1916. So a long history, nearly 110 years of
Wow.
providing interior design education. And as you mentioned, that's our single focus. So
Hmm.
that's really our reputation is the idea that we only focus on interior design education. And we have undergraduate and graduate programs as well as pre-college programs. So we invite high school students to come and learn about interior design before they are deciding on a major and where to go to college.
We're talking about a topic that the world is talking about today, right? So AI. Dan, maybe let's get into sort of general, then we'll get a little bit more specific. How is AI being used in interior design today? How are you seeing it?
Yeah, so I think you made a good point. It is relatively new. So about a year ago, this became like the buzz in the industry, right? Like a lot
Yeah,
of
yeah,
people were seeing AI and thinking about how am I going to use this? What does this mean for me? So primarily how we're seeing it used is for iteration. It's really sort of transforming the design process and how we
yeah.
start that process through sketches and ideation.
Yeah, like another tool,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah, it's
Like
just
another tool,
it's another tool that the designers have.
right? And um, Todd, you see it sort of in a different kind of way because you understand the whole software side of it. Tell us a little bit.
So the thing that is interesting for me is it's just that, as you say, it's another tool, and it's a tool to get through the process of design and at the end of the day, to create something beautiful and wonderful for someone to live in. It's important to understand that we create a physical world. Our world is not an image on the screen. Our world is a physical entity. So I look at AI as almost the way that AutoCAD replaced hand drafting,
Mm,
and how AI can not replace but add to the process of design.
right, right. That's the way, the two
Yeah.
together. Now, I put an orange background just for you because I know you have this fabulous example that's called the orange chair. So
Yes.
tell us about it.
So Uh, a few months ago, I was working with a faculty member who teaches a furniture class at the institution, and we were talking
Yeah.
about the prompt that he could use to get students to be able to design something. And we created this prompt, which was a lounge chair inspired by an orange, or a lounge chair that looks like an orange. And it was very interesting when you see what the output of the prompt is. We're supplying words to the machine, and the machine is giving us back images, removing the arduous work of rendering an image. And what transposed or transpired was how each individual, so we submitted the same prompt to three different applications, and how three different applications produced something very, very different. We took the final image, or the image that I liked the most, and we pushed it into another application and asked it to create a movie, create a simple rotation of the image. And I was astounded the choices that the application made, because it took the orange fabric and made it into an orange leather. You can see the leather texture that's in it. It took the outside skin and made it stainless steel.
The professors, they're all working professionals. Dan, they have a different perspective because they're seeing it in their practice too, and they're trying to think about how they can bring it to the classroom. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, exactly. So, as we mentioned earlier, it is a new technology. And so we don't have a script on this is exactly how you should use it. But one of the nice things about being here at NYSID is that all of our studio faculty are engaged in professional practice. So they're learning and seeing how it's used in the field. And that's what they're bringing to the classroom, is that firsthand experience. So the students are learning both sort of the theoretical use of AI, but they're also getting the practical use of it.
Todd, I understand you guys are developing a new degree. Tell us about it.
Sam McHale, who's been with the institution for a while, came to me 3 years ago was interested in developing a degree in MPS. One of the things that the digital practice management program is going to address is how AI fits into the process of developing from start to finish a project. The professional industry very, very quickly embraced ChatGPT. It's almost a requirement if you're going to send an email to a client or a proposal along those lines that you use ChatGPT. But when it comes to image generation, they're very cautious because they do not want to give expectations to the client that they can't solve. They can't find that piece. I love that chair that looks like an orange and I want one. It's going to cost some money to make it. It doesn't exist. So that's one of the things that the industry has at this moment, is trying to temper the expectation and not give to the client something that's impossible to do.
And you have like amazing professors in the field, all friends. So it's like we love them so much. So what are they saying just in terms about the curriculum and what they're going to be doing?
Yeah, so actually, what we're doing this summer and rolling it out in the fall is revising our curriculum based on this. And so, what students will experience is really learning about and getting to use AI from the very first semester through to the very last class in their career with us. So, they're going to learn firsthand how to use it for iteration, how it affects the design process, how it can improve final presentations.
What will you be talking about just in terms of what it can't give you, and the other, like the yang to the yang, in terms of what the students really need to experience with the physical world?
Right. So that's one of the things that we're talking about and that we need to focus on, is the idea of ethics, like making people aware of the fact that we are using AI. And that discussion is a really important part of practice. As it becomes a tool that more and more of us use, we have to really think about its ethical use.
The question is AI replacing designers? If you follow real estate and you go on any of the Zillows or whatever, and now they're taking empty apartments and placing the furniture,
Yep.
right? And it's kind of a good example, because there's such a difference between seeing that and seeing a well furnished apartment.
With real estate, when Zillow rolled out, there was a discussion about, oh, well, there goes the real estate industry, right? Like people
Mm.
were afraid that if I'm a realtor, my job is over. And we know that's not the case. Students have come and asked us that exact question. They're asking about the future of the profession and their role as interior designers. And what we've shared with them is that we see AI as a tool, and it's something they shouldn't be afraid of, that they really want to embrace it, and that there is a future in the profession. But we have to train this tool, right? So it's a learning scenario for artificial intelligence. So we have to train it to do things. But at the same time, like I was a practicing designer before I came into education. And when I designed from my heart, and I designed with compassion and with empathy. And that's not something that you can necessarily type in as a prompt, right? Like you can't say design an empathetic interior for this person. So there's certainly going to be the need for this human to human connection when you're designing.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up, because that is, and in terms of like creativity and living a creative life and being a designer, that's a big piece of it, right? That
Absolutely.
passion and that heart.
We created a prompt, or I created a prompt, which was a living room with a cubist painting and a shag rug. And it produced an awful lot of information, but we need to make a decision on what's good and what's right, because the machine is not going to say this is the ultimate one. We have to look at it and see if the image is getting to what we are interested in.
Wherever there's like technology, there needs to be the hand touch, especially in interior design.
Yeah, I think that's also part of the profession is that we are humans working together. Collaboration is a big part of what we do in this profession. I would say that a lot of designers, when they think about what it means to be a designer, it's not sitting down at the computer and drafting plans. It's touching and feeling materials and finishes. It's the interaction you have with clients. It's going out and experiencing the space in person. Interestingly, I'm sitting in the atelier, which is our resource room. So if you look over my shoulder, you'll see all those physical samples that our students used as they're designing projects.
Yeah. And then taking that, Dan, it just occurs to me how critically important the physical materiality of our world is, based on, so this is coming to you, now what? Because you are going to end up designing a room, a bar, a hotel, a restaurant. And so materials are so powerful and important.
Yeah, and so as Todd mentioned, like the AI can give you something back in response to your prompt, but part of what we do as designers is we bring the rest of that picture to life. And so if AI doesn't have an answer, if it doesn't know the answer, it can make that up. And so part of what we do as designers when we're using AI is we're checking what it's doing. We're making sure that it's really creating that thing that we want. And again, we're bringing our heart and our compassion to a project.
Yeah, I just think about like in the real world where I'm dealing with many, many designers and manufacturers every single day. And the manufacturer side of it, the money that they spend developing products that are like beautiful, sustainable, specifiable, like that piece is, you know, has nothing to do with the AI part of the equation, but it's the extension of that into into the materials. I mean, I just think that wow, like you get the opportunity, like the yin yang, right?
Absolutely. So actually, you bring up a good point. And one of the things that we often tell students is you have to sit in a chair so that when you specify it, you know that it's comfortable, or is that the experience that you want in that chair? You have to touch the carpet to know what it's actually going to feel like when it's installed. And so, to your point, those physical things that we bring to the interior, you don't really get to appreciate those just through the computer screen, you might say.
Yeah. It would seem to me in the future the library for the schools would be even more critical. I know there it's tricky because like getting materials, getting samples, keeping it up to date, like it's a whole thing. But I would think that that would be like something that needs to be developed in kind of a different way in the future. But that's just me.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think the library is going away, right? Like we're going to
Right.
continue to see the need for materials and all the things that we have now. So when we're thinking about AI, it's really expansive. It's not contracting our world. It's opening up new opportunities.
Yeah.
Also, it's important that we don't lose sight of the fact that New York School of Interior Design is in New York City. And if we need to go to a showroom, we need to go to a materials location, a materials
Yeah.
library, we can. It's here, it's in our backyard.
Yeah. And that's something else we also talk about with this next generation is get out of your room, get off the computer, go to the museum, go to the showroom. So I think it's a very good point that in New York City, it's right there for us. All right, so let's talk about the role of educators and what do you think are the future considerations for AI in the interior design education?
AI is not just image generation from text. It's not just at this moment, give me a orange chair. I can create a pencil sketch and say, this is in a mountain area. It is a sunset in the background. It has a wood floor. It has a stainless steel roof to it. And AI will put those pieces in and render that pencil sketch into a very, in my opinion, a very nice rendering. AI also, not only is it a hand sketch to an image, it's also an image to an image. So I can submit to AI an image and say, change the picture over the couch to be inspired by a Picasso. Change the carpet or change the floor to another material, and it will change it. Unfortunately, it will also change the context. So it will change the curtain wall of the building, which is not something we should be doing, but it does that. We, as the users of this tool, need to be smart and not just say, oh, it's done and ship it out the door. We need to look at it. AI will also not just generate an image, not just generate pixels, it will generate objects. So in a package like Revit, I can give it a rectangle and I can ask it to give me a 2-bedroom apartment with a kitchen and a living area, and it will do that. It won't generate a picture, it will generate Revit objects that I can then take and design from or build upon. So it's not just give me an orange chair, it's give me an orange chair in a space and so on. So it's a very interesting world right this second from a design point of view.
All right, so I guess let's end with this sort of like future considerations for AI in interior design education. Just some last thoughts.
Yeah, so actually, one important point is, and we sort of touched on this earlier, is again, as a new technology, we don't know what the future holds. And
Yeah.
so, as a school, we're actually in the planning stages of a symposium on
Hmm.
AI in education and in professional practice. And so, really, what we're doing again is embracing the idea. We're going to bring together practitioners, educators, researchers, and really have a discussion about what is the future.
Dan, do you hear like any water cooler talk from your professors at school?
Yeah, they're actually really excited about what this means for efficiency in practice. Like they're thinking about how do I use AI to eliminate the things that are more redundant and actually get to do more of the things that I really want to do as a designer. So efficiency, but also it just frees up time for us to do more productive things as interior designers.
That's great. I just love that in the change, you are in it because, because the practicing professors are like in it as well. It's right there. I want to thank Dean Harper and Dean Class. Okay, come back in a year from now, right,
Yes.
everybody?
We'll be here.
Yeah. Thank you guys so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.